Hi everyone. So my name is Philipp and I'm going to show you like a quick summary of the basic strokes on frame drum and also the basic playing positions. So you have upright position where you hold your drum like this. This is good if you want to move around, and also all of the playing positions have their like special sound. Okay, but this is very good if you want to like move around on stage or so, to play the upright position. Then we have two seated positions. One is the lap style. Looks like this. So you have your drum on your left knee or on your right knee if you're left-handed, and your left hand on top. So you can imagine like a straight line going from your left hand through your knee. And the third possibility is called Freehand Style, and I do this a lot. It's called Freehand Style because you have both hands free, right? So now your hands don't have to hold the instrument because you're holding it with your legs. And yeah, so they all have their advantages and disadvantages, these three playing positions. So today we're going to focus on lap style and freehand style. And the basic sounds, there are, let's say, 3 or 4 basic sounds that you should know. The first one is the bass sound of the frame drum, and it's called Doum, and it sounds like this. And there is different ways that you can produce this sound. I'm going to show you 2 very quickly. The first one is called the thumb Doum, because you play it with your thumb, okay, and you don't use just the tip, but the whole length of your thumb. And it's played from a turning motion of your wrist, like the same motion that you would use if you unlock a door. Okay, you turn the key in your door, it's the same turning motion of your wrist. I'm gonna give you maybe a close-up of this. Looks like that. And there's a few things to note about this. So first thing, already I said, this turning motion of your wrist. So it's kind of, you're making kind of a quarter of a circle. Okay, not a full circle, but just a quarter. You can note that my thumb, it's touching the skin only for a very, very short moment. Okay, so my thumb is not staying on the skin, but it goes away from the skin right after I hit it. Okay, maybe I can show this again. See this little gap between my thumb and the skin? Okay, this is important. Otherwise, if you don't do this, you stop the vibration of the skin, and you don't want that. Okay, if I do it wrong, also a good sound maybe, but not what we want now. Okay. Another thing to notice is this turning motion. It stops once my hand is parallel with the skin. I'm going to show you this as well. So I'm not going through with my hand like this, but I stop once my hand is parallel. I don't turn any further. Okay, see, I'm ending in a parallel position. I'm not going through. There are situations where you can go through, or where it's even good to go through, but that's kind of not where you begin. Okay, so maybe one more thing that you should pay attention to is where on the drum where you hit, and this is it's different for every drum, and different with the size of your drum. So a good point to start is, let's say for this thumb bass, you take the middle of your skin, okay, and you take the right edge of your skin, and then somewhere in the middle between those 2 points is a good point to hit the drum for the doom. Okay, notice in this case the tip of my thumb is hitting this point. Okay, so I have the middle and I have the edge, and the tip of my thumb goes right in between. Okay, so I'm fairly far, maybe more to the edge than you would expect as a beginner. Okay, so for example, if I were to hit in the middle of the skin, you can see, or depending on what device you're listening to this, if you listen to this with headphones, you will see if I hit in the middle, it doesn't sound good at all. If I hit at the edge, I don't get the bass. Okay, so somewhere in between is the right point to hit. And anyway, what you should do really is make your own experiments with this. Okay, so try all the different spots that you could hit the skin and compare and find out which one sounds the best. Okay, so that's Doum. Maybe as a comparison, bigger drum. Okay, so you make this experiment. Where do I get the sound, the best sound? And with bigger drums, you're not so limited. With bigger drums, for example, there is a nice sound also in the middle of the drum. Okay, but let's not go too far into this. So another way to play Doum is what we call the finger Doum. And for that you use your middle finger of your right hand, and you kind of have it at an angle, okay? And in this case you can use your wrist for the movement, and again hit somewhere in the middle, between the middle and the edge. Okay, somewhere here is a good point to start. Can you see? Yeah. Maybe from the side. Okay, so we have two ways to play Doum. The Doum with your thumb and the Doum with your middle finger. Okay, now if we switch to Freehand Style. Freehand Style, remember, is where you have the drum between your legs. You go a bit back. I hope you can see good. Both of these bass sounds you can also use in Freehand Style, and it works exactly the same. You have this turning motion for your thumb Doum, have the motion from your wrist for the finger Doum. Okay, another important sound is called ta, and this is kind of making the contrast, maximum contrast to the Doum. Okay, so Doum should be as soft as possible, as little overtones as possible, and with ta you go the exact opposite. You want it to sound as bright as possible and as many overtones as possible. Really bright sound. And for ta again we use a turning motion of our wrist, and we hit with our ring finger. Okay, and just with just the tip of your ring finger, you hit at the very edge of the skin. I'll give you a close up again. Maybe in slow motion. Looks like this. Okay, and I'm really at the very edge of the skin. Only my very first part of my ring finger is hitting the skin. So that first joint, it's not hitting the skin, just the tip. Okay, this way you get the brightest possible sound. Generally there is kind of a continuum of sounds you can imagine, with Doum at one end and ta at the other end. Okay, so Doum is the softest, darkest sound, and ta is the brightest sound. I can maybe give you an example. You see, the more I go to the edge, the brighter the sound becomes. Okay, so I recommend really that you try in the start especially to focus on this brightest sound, so you develop the precision. Okay, so that's ta. This sound is called ta. So we have Doum and ta now. If you go to Freehand Style with this, so again, you put your hands, your drum between your legs. That's maybe a little bit different. In Freehand Style you cannot use so easily, with such power, this turning motion. You still use it, but I think it has there's a bigger component in this movement of your arm and your wrist also. Okay, so in lap style it's really 90% this turning motion, but in freehand style you also use a little bit more your arm and your wrist and also the turning motion, right? So it's a combination of different muscles and movements. Looks like this. And of course also with your other hand. In the freehand style, many people also use the ta with their index finger. So that's kind of the same idea. Just if you use this turning motion as well, which would be good idea to do, you have to turn the other way, right? So if I want to hit my index finger, I have to turn like this. If I want to use my ring finger, I turn the other way. Okay, but you figure that out. What's important is really, most important thing is that you find a good sound and a relaxed way to do these strokes. So maybe I give you another close-up of this. Maybe we adjust the camera a little bit. So that's tar with the index finger and tar with your ring finger. And the same for your left hand. Right, so we have Doum with your thumb, we have Doum with your middle finger, we have tar with your index finger, tar with your ring finger. And now there's one sound missing that I didn't show you yet. And that last sound is called pa. And it's, you can think of it kind of like as the slap on the frame drum. It sounds like this, and it's really maybe the easiest movement to learn, because you really just take your hand and hit it on the drum. Okay. Maybe as general ideas, roughly you can have like your fingertips in the middle of the skin. Okay, so really in the center. That's where you get the strongest pa, the most energy. And there's lots of variations for this sound. So really what I'm doing, it's not the end of the story. It's just one basic way to do it. It's very simple. One thing, however, is important to note that you know, Doum and tar, they are both called open strokes because you don't stop the skin after you hit. Like with Doum, okay, the skin can continue to do its thing, and is the same with tar, but for pa it's different. For pa we really want to stop the skin, okay, so it's a very stop, okay, so it's a muted sound. Yeah, so that's maybe the most important thing for the start. So you really rest your hand for a brief moment after you hit the skin. Okay? You don't go like this. Okay, this is what you do for Doum and tar. But for pa, you want to stick to the skin for a brief moment until it stops its vibration. Okay. Okay, one more thing that's really important is fingertips, and this is the last sound that I'm going to show you now. It sounds like this. Not sure if you can hear that, but it's really subtle. Okay, so ideally you should just about be able to hear it a little bit, but it shouldn't be like a prominent feature usually. And the function of this sound is very important. So let's think about it like this. If you have, let's say we take a little piece of time, a little segment of time, okay? Time is running, and then that piece of time is over. Let's call that piece of time a bar, okay? And depending on what rhythm you play, you have a subdivision of this unit of time. Let's say we make some subdivisions. Okay, and so when you create a rhythm, what you do is you take take that bar and that subdivision, and you fill some of those points in time with accents like doum, ta, or pa. Let me give you an example. For example, you can go. Okay, so now I have my bar, and there's eight points of time in it, and only 3 points where I'm actually playing. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3. Right, and for the other 5 of those moments in time. For these, we are going to fill these up with fingertips. Looks like this. Okay, so the idea with fingertips is really to fill up those times where nothing is happening in the actual rhythm. So this means that fingertips are actually the movement that we use most out of all movements. Okay, we play a lot more fingertips than we play tas, pas, or doum. Fingertips are really what we use the most. So it makes sense to find a really relaxed way of doing them. Okay, so you don't get like. Yeah, you know what I mean. Okay, so fingertips. I show you what I do. I like to use my index finger in the lap style for the fingertips. And maybe I give you a top-down view here of how I hold the drum. So I have this about 45-degree angle between my arm and the drum. Okay, and my hand is just hanging around here. Okay, it's very relaxed, just sitting there, and I arrange my position in such a way that my index finger rests naturally at the spot where I want to hit the drum for the fingertip. Okay, so this way I don't really need to spend a lot of energy for the fingertips, because my finger is already in the right position and I can do it very relaxed. The position is really right at the edge of the skin, like maybe the same as you would do for ta. And it's a very small movement that should take no energy at all. Okay, it's really just like tipping your fingers on the table, very relaxed. Okay, so let's put that in the rhythm. Right, and it has a musical quality. Like if I play the same rhythm without those fingertips, it sounds like this. Or I give you a direct comparison. Okay, with fingertips. And without. Okay, you see the fingertips are kind of like a metronome, okay? It makes your rhythm easier to understand. It makes it easier to follow what's happening. Okay, but let's not go too far into this. In freehand style, you use fingertips as well. And for the start, I think you can do just the same thing, like transfer this to the freehand style. Find a relaxed position. For example, I really like to rest my arms in my lap. Okay, so my starting position for everything is really that I don't need to carry my arms, they're just resting there. And also to play fingertips, I don't even need to lift my arm, okay? I just lift my finger. Why waste energy if I don't have to? Yeah, generally, so I don't want to go too far, but you can, if you go to higher speeds, it can be a good idea to divide the work that you need to do with the fingertips, because remember they're the most the thing that we do most. It can be a good idea to divide the work that you have to do to two fingers. Okay, so you can use your index finger and ring finger. You can use both of them for fingertips, and instead of playing our rhythm like this, okay, so this was just with my index finger. Instead of doing this, you could divide up the work between index finger and ring finger and do this. Okay, but that's kind of things for the future, but yeah, it may be helpful that in the future, so if you ask yourself why are we using index finger and ring finger, we are trying to lay a foundation that is that will give you a good base for things that come in the future. For example, in the future, we will you can use a lot of very interesting techniques that use index finger and ring finger like this. This is called split finger technique, and you can do all sorts of really crazy stuff with that. Just trust me and follow along using your index finger and ring finger. For example, you know, many people would think it would be, for me, feel more natural to use the middle finger. Why don't you do that? Okay, so this is the answer to this. It's because of what comes next. Okay, so I hope you have a good idea of those basic sounds now, and yeah, have fun practicing and see you soon. Ciao.